So Jason Momoa did an interview with the New York Times. The New York Times interviewer early in the interview asked if he has any regrets about portraying sexual assault during Game of Thrones. He kind of answered the question and they went on with the interview. And then at the end of the interview, he circled back and he was like, that was a really icky question. That's the word that gets thrown around every time they talk about this. The question felt really icky and it's not really appropriate because I didn't write the script. I'm a paid actor. I did my job. I didn't sexually assault anyone, and I did my job and didn't even write this. If it's a trigger for you or whatever, that's not on me, is what he kind of said. How do you feel about this?
Well, there's so many different ways. Sometimes like somebody will do such a great performance that they're just stuck in those type of roles. Do you know what I mean by that? Like Joe Pesci, like a mob guy, he was a mob guy.
You get typecast,
You get typecast, right? It was a fucking show. It wasn't. It was a fictional show. If you're going to come at the man who was the actor, no, you go after the man who was the writer.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack here. Does that mean we can't write stories that include sexual assault, though, either?
No, because you're looking at the time it was made, and that's the kind of people that they were being portrayed. Who he was like a non-English speaking, massive human, like Hulk of a. They were just nomads. Like they were just like Neanderthals that kind of went around.
Let's get into the story because I've asked a few people to explain what happened. My understanding is Jason Momoa's character was
Momoa.
Momoa, okay, whatever. He was in a marriage with somebody that he didn't speak the same language as, and on their wedding night, he had sex with her, and it sounds like it was not consensual, and she was pretty traumatized by it. The person that told me said they would later fall in love and whatever, and I don't really think that matters to me, but it was a sexual assault.
But she was also, to get into that relationship, she was also sold by her brother to this person and her brother was promised a massive throne. So okay. Like you start picking at things like that, like Game of Thrones, like if that's what bothers you about Game of Thrones, like, don't go on past that because the first episode there's incest.
Okay.
And there's a child's murder.
Okay.
So you're picking on that, and to go after that to me, that reporter needs to be like pulled aside and just like, what the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah. Well, and that's another good point that you're sort of you're making here is. That's what the show is. A lot of people have told me is like the show is like murder, rape. A sexual assault is pretty prevalent. Assault, physical assault, killing people. It's a pretty
dark ages.
Pretty dark show.
It's the dark ages, and even then, they're making strong female characters. Okay. And like even as they go back and they show like all like the stuff on how it was or how we're told it was back in those days, you're getting these strong female leads that come out and you're like, yeah, okay, it's awesome. But no, they have to choose that one. And like, okay.
Yeah, so it feels pretty weird to attack the guy that followed the marching orders, did his job, not the guy that wrote it. And even attacking the guy that wrote it, I don't think I agree with, because that's the tone of the show. This person wrote something within the tone of the show. That's what you're signing up for when you watch this show, I feel, right? Is that fair?
That's exactly what it is. And you're looking at whoever told you like she fell in love with him, like the next scene or the scene after, it was like, yeah, I want him.
Spoilers. We don't want to get into too many spoilers.
Bro, this isn't a spoiler. This is Game of Thrones. If you haven't watched season 1 of Game of Thrones, go fuck yourself. I'm telling you right now. I'm not even spoiling alert. She how to the that's how. Don't come at me with spoiler alert on Game of Thrones? It's like 10 years old.
Yeah, but you're encouraging me to watch it, and if you spoil me, I'm not going to.
No, once you see it, you'll be like, oh, even if you pay attention to it, you might be like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be upset about.
So, long story short, I think we both agree is this reporter's way out of left field. I can understand not wanting to see sexual assault on screen, but that's why we have things like trigger warning. And, most shows these days say, adult content, sexual content, things like that before the show starts. So there are warnings before these.
Some shows are coming out. Some shows are coming out with the violence on the bottom of them before they come on.
Okay.
So I think Netflix is doing it with certain shows saying like violent scene coming.
Yeah, these are good things. I think that we can't create a world where art won't tackle these subjects. So as long as art is allowed to tackle these subjects, you can't hold the person creating that art responsible for it because they didn't actually do a sexual assault. They just created a piece of art that includes it and commented on it, and that they're not out sexually assaulting people. They're just creating art to comment on sexual assault, and I think we need that.
Yeah, no, and that kickstarted his career. So I don't think he's going to be knocking Game of Thrones. Because that's a good way to get those Thronies mad at you. You're fucked.